How's it? Yeah. No, there it is. Have you meditated before?
I have.
Yeah? What did you do in your meditation? Was it quiet one or was it chanting or?
No, it was yogi chanting.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's similar. I mean, we call it Naam, yeah? So that the idea is to say the name of God.
Right.
So it's very similar to what Jesus might have said, hallowed be thy name, right?
Yeah.
So we actually just chant God's name. That's one of our main ways of meditation.
Right.
And we close our eyes and we just chant to God. And the idea is that you actually start calling God. Like let's say when you were a baby, we've all been there. We're sitting in our room, we want our mum, we start crying, right? And then initially it's like, mummy, mum, and then it raises in pitch. Yeah. And then at some point, right, you're shouting, and then finally the mother appears, right? And so that's the idea. So we keep on calling until we actually experience God, the idea. And then when that door is open at the top here, then you can have it all the time. Yeah. And it's just, you can just keep, as long as you keep your mind focused on it, and you don't go into sort of, what you might say, like, deviate from like into the worldly things. Yeah, you can stay there, and you can have that bliss. Because like, if you touch fire, like it might be nice right now, you get hot, you get burnt, right? It's hot, right? If you touch ice, you get cold. So when we touch God, what kind of things do you think we're going to feel? Because like, that's the kind of, if it's the essence of God, what is the essence? You ever thought about that? What do you think?
It's either complete fullness or complete emptiness.
That's a good way. So people call it sunya, as it's like nothing there. But I mean, what do you think that if God could be described as an experience as opposed to an entity, what do you think that experience would be?
It's what you said before, cutting off.
Yeah, so you completely
from the body.
all absorbing. Yeah. People do separate from the body as well. You can feel that separation, but it's actually bliss and love and joy, because God's in complete joy in it. God's not looking at us thinking, "Oh no, how sad is all this?" Yeah, because God's the one in control in it.
There are some schools of thought that say that
God's sad.
Christianity.
What, that God's unhappy with us? No, they have that God is unhappy with us, but God's not unhappy in general.
Yeah.
Do you get it? It's not like God's walking around with a sad face. Yeah, God may think, okay, you guys didn't actually do what I told you to do, but on a more intrinsic level, God's just bliss and happiness. You know what I mean? So when we connect to God, that's what we get. We get this intense feeling of bliss and intense happiness, right? Joy. And that's really what, if you look at all the saints of every religion, and I've taken the Christian saints as well, they're all living in bliss as well, and they all seem to be a bit carefree. The world's might be burning around them, and they seem to be smiling. You wonder what's wrong with you. Why are you not stressed? And that's partly the reason, because
you wonder what you're doing right.
They're connecting to that one essence, which is actually carefree and living in bliss. So I mean, our main way is to chant God's name. So
would you say that essence is the same for everyone?
Well, we wouldn't say that every religion is the same, but we would say that every human being is the same.
So would you say that all religions tend to the same experience?
Well, no, I mean, if you were going to take the Jediism as a religion and other religions as a religion, they're different. What I would say is, let's say there was a scale of 0 to 100, right? On that scale, as in this being 100% the truth and this being in complete darkness, we all human beings are along this path, and religion in a way doesn't really count, because let's say you've got 10 Christians in a room. You'll have 11 Christianities, right? Yeah. You'll have everybody's a different religion, and my sings the same religion as me, but we may have a different way of our religion. Do you get it? Like what I do, what he does might be different. So religion really shouldn't be judged.
What are the constancies in Sikhism? I mean,
what's distinct? Okay, so the first one is that we don't believe that that the ultimate aim is to separate ourselves away from society, so that we should live in the world. Yeah. So there's no asceticism. Yeah. So there's no monastic life. In that sense, so people shouldn't be unmarried.
Very different from Buddhism.
Yeah, exactly. So the ideal Sikh is a monk, but in the head.
All right.
So the 10th Guru is saying, be a sannyasi. A sannyasi is like the Hindu version of a monk. Yeah, they wander around totally naked. And so Maharaj says, he says,
so how is it different?
Become a sannyasi in your mind.
Okay.
So oh my mind, be a renunciate. Live in the world, be totally unattached to it. So it's like a lotus flower. If you look at lotus flower, it lives in mud. It grows in the mud, but yes, it's beautiful, and it's got zero friction on its leaves. So when you throw something on it, it just rolls off. Right? If people want to copy that now with nanotechnology, the idea is that we actually remain unattached while we're living in the world. So we do believe that we should get married, live in the world, have a job, give money away, and have children. But then inside you're a monk. The second thing that would be distinctive is living in the world extends to not just to a passive living in the world, but an active fighting against fighting against injustice. So we actually carry a sword. So each Sikh is told, be armed, right? If anybody needs help, then you can actually help. So it's kind of like a positive.
Violence.
Well, let's say put it this way. Let's say Gandhi, preached non-violence, right? But then the people that are fighting him were violent to him, right? So he was only using non-violence as a moral tool to shame the British.
Yeah.
But its very essence, he wasn't non-violent because he believed in doing something. Even if so the Sikhs were involved in those non-violent protests. So Sikhs were involved in getting beaten. They had a kirpan on, but they didn't use it. So they were beaten non-violently, right?
Yeah.
And yet, that was their being proactive. So the kirpan, or having a weapon, is kind of like a weapon of last resort, but it's a principle that we are not going to be passive spectators in this world. We're not letting somebody drowning and say, oh, it's just God's will.
Alright.
Like the Buddhists have this idea now that if you want to kill it, they've got like crazy dogs barking in the area. So they say, well, we can't kill them because that would be bad karma. So what they do now, to get around the karma, which is a bit silly, we think it was silly, they put poisoned meat in a plate and put the meat out. They say it's the dog's own karma if it eats the meat. But come on, that's just like silly, So for us, what we believe is you do create karma. You create karma all the time with everything you do, with what you say, what you think, and what you do. You create karma.
So is the concept of karma very similar to the Hindu or the Buddhist?
There is a difference. We do have the idea of concept of karma, so we believe we create karma with everything, and then we get judged in that karma. And there's continuous judgment. There's not one big day of judgment for everybody. There's not you die and then you sit in your grave until the end of days. Because that's what the Christians, the Muslims, and the Buddhists have. There's kind of they have a conflict where there's one day of judgment, right? You believe that's silly?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I do too, but I don't want to say it to anybody. Because imagine everybody who's ever died is still waiting to be judged. So when they keep saying, oh, Daddy's now in heaven, well, he's not, is he? Because effectively you're all waiting. And then they call that bit the limbo. And actually they don't tell anybody about that. So all these suicide martyrs, etc., when they go to kill themselves off, etc., no one ever tells them, hey man, it could be an eternity waiting down there until the day of judgment comes, right? But the day of judgment for us is continuous. So every time you die, you're getting judged, right? Now, obviously every time, because we believe in reincarnation, But there is one thing that can burn karma. Everything else accumulates it. But there's one thing that can burn karma, and that's God's name. So that's why God's name is so amazing. So it's the most amazing, because by chanting it, you're not creating karma, you're actually destroying karma. And the idea is to wipe that slate. So Guru describes it like, let's say you had a massive pile of straw, the biggest pile of straw you've seen in your world ever, right? And you're carrying that around with you everywhere. And straw, if in multitudes, becomes like massive, You can't carry it, it's so big. But if you set one little spark to it, take the whole thing down.
Okay.
So the power of God's name is that much, that it can actually take away all the straw. So this is why we identify a lot with Christianity, because Jesus keeps talking about the name, right? Some religions don't believe you can connect to God. They will say that's blasphemy. They will believe that the fact that your soul inside and God's is the same essence, and the fact that you can manifest God inside you, they will see that's very strange. But we believe that the inside you is like a drop, and God is the ocean. And it's just got discolored now, and as you purify it, right, it will start to shine with the actual light of God. And so we do believe that when people become saints, let's say for example, that they get purified, they actually start to being able to do things that normal mortals can't. They start to tap into the power of God, right? So for example,
manifest in something like miracles.
Yeah, miracles is just one small part of it. It would be also like knowing things. Like if it's a Mahapurush is like a spiritual being, they'd meet someone and they would know like what's happened to this person, what's brought them here. Because like we're carrying information, but it can't be seen, right? It's a baggage around us. It can't be seen by a normal person, but with God, they can, with the holy person, who's like a form of God in a way, they actually start to see all that information, right? And so they become like close to, and they can see the future and the past. So it's almost like the human eyes, what we see is a very small percentage of the actual spectrum of visible things, right? But in the same way, our perception of what's going on is very limited as well. Like we can't see ghosts, So in Islam they call that the al-ghab, For example, we can't see the demigods. We do believe there are demigods, right? But we don't believe in them. We don't pray to them. But we believe they're there. So there's ghosts. There's a whole unseen world that we can't see. So you start to see that unseen world.
But holy men can tap in.
They can see it. They can see it. Yeah. So they can relate to ghosts. They can see what they're doing. But even the unseen world can't see God. So the holy person can actually see the unseen of the unseen.
Where is God?
It's inside us and everywhere.
It's a form of pantheism. I find
It's very close to panentheism. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's rather than put it in a box, it's kind of like we just see it as the truth, and we can see that truth in other religions. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about the Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Does God manifest in inanimate things?
Can do. If God can choose to.
Is there a bit of God in?
Yeah. No. God's in everything.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So we can't say there's nothing that can, because every single molecule only exists because of God's power. It has no power of its own.
I like that.
Yeah. So He's supporting every single thing. Yeah. So His name, if we say Naam Ke Tare Sagal Akar, that the name of God actually is the support for every single thing as well. You know the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, have you ever heard of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, by the way? Just, you know. So you know the 10th Guru, right? Oh, you don't know, but anyway, the 10th Guru, he decided from now on there's no physical Guru anymore. So this is only about 300 years ago. It's quite a young religion. 500 years ago the first Guru came, and 300 years ago, after 200 years of continuously one Guru being in charge, one by one, the 10th Guru said from now on it will be the text, the compilation, so all the writings. What's unique is that text was compiled by the Gurus. The 5th Guru compiled 90% of it. The 10th Guru added the writings of his own father, 9th Guru, and then sealed it for us. And so it's the only really religious text that was made by the Prophet, or it's not an ideal word for us because Prophet's kind of like a mouthpiece, the Guru's kind of like the manifest God. Yeah. But anyway, the Gurus put this together for us. What's interesting is when they did it, like you said again about different religions, what the Gurus did is they put in the writings of other saints that weren't Sikhs.
Yeah.
So you had Kabir Ji, very famous accepted Muslim saint, also the Hindus follow. Farid, who's a Muslim Sufi saint, Farid Ji, and then you've got Namdev Ji, Tilochan Ji, Ramanand Ji, all very respected saints of India. So how we describe Sikhi, the only way to really describe for a Sikh is a path of the saints.
Okay.
So every saint is on this path, whether you call it whatever, they're on this path, and the path is very similar. Saint, can you grab the 10 facts from the bag there? I'll give you because you're asking more detailed questions. We have a step up leaflet from this, and I'll give you that. And the path of the saints, it's inside the brown bag. It says there's 5 things you got to walk away from, and 5 things you must embrace. Now your hands, I don't know if mine will work. Let's see if they're fairly frozen at the moment. Okay, let's see. So this is the one about science and reincarnation, the global mission. I think that's what distinguishes us quite a lot because we actually have a pretty big global mission. But let's say this is the path of the saints, yeah?
I want to know about this thing.
Okay, I'll talk about this thing.
I can,
So these are the 5 we have to walk away. And why is it downwards? Because we've got to embrace humility. The humbleness, so that's why we like Christ again, because he's like it's all about the meek.
I like the affinity with Christ.
Yeah, so
we go. Of Christianity is going away from Christ.
Yeah. Well, we're
and then trying to come back.
It's hard to work out what Christ actually wanted to say because a lot of it's based upon Paul. Paul never met Jesus. Yeah. So there's all this.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's so it works out. And anyway, then you've got this whole Catholic Church and all the rest of the doctrine. So, but Jesus, I think, liked this idea, the path of the saints. Yeah, and that's leaving lust, anger, greed, attachment and pride, walking away from these things, and then embracing truth, contentment, compassion, righteousness and forgiveness. Yeah. So that's the path of the saints. So the first step on that path of the saints is this stuff. Then obviously the inside work, and actually bringing our mind, our words
and you do that
and our
through
actions.
Meditation especially?
It's not the only way. As you said, we are very positive in the world, so we get involved with serving people. Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever been to a Sikh temple.
I've never been. No.
You've never been? Which part of the country are you from?
I'm not English.
Oh well, you've got very good English. Somebody who's not English.
Thanks. I'm from Europe, Prague.
Prague. Okay, Czech Republic. Okay. You've got a. It must be a. There must be a sect. There must be a sect. There must be some area in Prague where they speak perfect English. So, Prague, Czechoslovakia. Okay, there are probably no gurdwaras there. However, if you ever go to London, are you studying here right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oxford.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I was at Oxford.
Yeah. Right.
Better than this place. No, in Oxford there's actually a full-time gurdwara, so you can go down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. But the gurdwara, it's called the Guru's Gate, so the Guru's door. Right? The gurdwara's always got free food, all the time.
Yeah.
If you just type in this word langar, right? It's not actually in that thing. Sorry, we should put it in. The word langar just means free food given out in Sikh temples. Now, it's probably the only faith for the last 500 years we've been feeding people continuously. Yeah. The Golden Temple here.
That recommends you quite a lot.
The Golden Temple here.
The other faith.
Yeah. The Golden Temple here feeds about 100,000 people a day.
Especially in India.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where there's so much hunger.
Yeah, of
So you could, if you were near a Sikh temple, you couldn't starve to death. That's the whole point. So the Gurus instituted this at the very beginning. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, look, we must have food together.
Yeah.
And then it was made a staple part of a Gurdwara. So you cannot have a Gurdwara without having free food. Even a small Gurdwara, like they might open up, like in a small village somewhere, like Chichester, where there's no Sikhs.
Yeah.
Even if they get together on a Sunday, there'll be free food. It's just part and parcel.
How do you feel vis-a-vis the other religions? Because most big world religions are apprehensive about even helping.
No, I don't think. To be honest, I think, like I said, people can get very easily caught up in religion.
Yeah.
And then forget that a religion is kind of irrelevant because you've got people of different types inside that religion.
Is it
so there's not
in any way?
I would say yes, but not
a global mission. So
let's say I met somebody who was a staunch Christian.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to convert him away from Christianity. Right? Because somebody believes in Jesus, they've already got a guru. We would say Jesus is a guru, right?
Okay.
So he's already got a guru, so why disturb him?
Muslims say
so he's a Muslim. Whatever you call him, right?
Yeah.
He's somebody who guides you.
Yeah.
He's your teacher, he's the person who sets the example for you, he's the person whose teachings you accept.
Yeah.
So they've already got a guru, we wouldn't convert that person. We would say, oh, let him be happy as a Sikh or a Christian or a Muslim, whatever. Let's work together. Right? If you want to feed people, let's feed people together. If you want to help people, let's pray together. We've had many times, like for example, recently in Bombay, there was a flood and the mosque was flooded. So what did the Sikhs do? They said, come on in. And all the Muslims were doing their prayer inside the Gurdwara. Because and an example of this is inside this leaflet. The sixth Guru, he actually made a mosque.
Okay.
The poor people of Sri Hargobindpur came to him and they said, look, we haven't got a mosque. Can you help us out? He was like, sure. And he made him one. So this is the only, it's now protected by the UN, that place, and it's
the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, he actually was tortured by Mughals. They were actually Muslim fundamentalists, and but his son was the sixth Guru, and he didn't bear a grudge, because we got that idea of every religion has the right to practice their own religion.
Right.
So how does that work though? How come the sixth Guru was the son of the fifth Guru?
Basically,
what's the selection process?
The selection process was always there. There was a process of selection, and it was more about, do you submit to the Guru? Do you believe in your own judgment and your own mind, or do you accept the Guru as the embodiment of the divine and submit to his wisdom? So as a Sikh, like let's say the Guru tested Sikhs many times. He would do things like, okay, do this, make this wall for me. This late night, we need to stop the water, make the wall. And they're like, oh, do it in the morning. He's like, no, do it now. So it's like, okay, do you ignore what you think, focus on the Guru? And then he would do this, like he would say, oh, it's not good enough, knock it down again. And it was always the time people see, like, okay, why has he made me make this thing 22 times, What the Guru was checking was not whether you're interested in the wall, because he's not interested in the wall. And the Sikh who's doing that is not interested in the wall. What the Sikh is interested in doing what the Guru says, and the Guru is seeing the Sikh listens to him over his own mind. So basically, inside us, there's a disease. The disease is ego. Ego says, I want to do this.
Right.
It's not like ego as in you might say, oh, he's egoistic. It's a bit deeper than that.
So the egoistic, quite a new word.
Egoistic.
What would you call it?
We call it in Homme. We call it Homme. Homme is like a sense of I-ness, selfness.
Yeah.
So self-thought as opposed to God orientation. So where your mind says, I don't want to do this, and inside you say the Guru says you should do this. So then you say, oh, forget the mind. It's always going to say no.
Conscience,
But it's a bit deeper than that. It's actually not. It's not thinking about it. It's just like selflessness. So the idea of giving free food in the Gurdwara, that's actually all about selflessness. It's learning to give without expectation of reward. So you don't go there thinking, I'm going to go do an hour of cooking food and then I'm going to get this much good karma. If you've gone there with that desire, you've actually started to lose a bit from the beginning. So you go there to say, I want to help people. Why? Because I want to help people. That's it. And I want to help this person because I just want to help this person. So the Guru's trying to get us to become selfless and not thinking about ourselves. Because sometimes you might be helping somebody or giving them food, sometimes you have to die for them. So the sword there is a principle that we could give our life for somebody. And it's happened in the past. Many Sikhs, for example, have actually gone out there and saved, like for example, when the Mughal kings, I don't know if you know much about Indian history, but every year, just like the Vikings would invade Europe, the Mughals would come from Afghanistan and Persia and invade India. And when the Sikhs finally, armed themselves and got ready, then they stopped. Because every time they would come to India, they would invade. They would because at that time we were being suppressed by the Indian Mughals. So the Persian Mughals would come and raid Indian Mughals, take all their money and all the women from local Indian people, take them back up to Afghanistan, and on their way back, the Sikhs would raid them. free all the girls, right? Help themselves to all the gold, arm themselves, and they got quite annoyed with this continuous kind of. So we basically have been part of fighting slavery and oppression since day one, and that's the kind of the reason why we carry this, is because as far as we're concerned, every human being should see themselves as a sovereign being, you know, and only subject to the laws of the one. You were talking earlier about women.
Yeah.
So women are totally equal to men.
Okay.
Right? And then when I say equal, I don't mean they'll be saying.
Why don't they wear the turban?
They do, yeah.
They do?
Yeah, my wife wears one. Here you go, look.
Sorry.
This is what the pics help, yeah?
Ignorant of me.
There you go. Look. Me and 3 women wearing turbans.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of them there. So they do wear them.
Sorry, that's ignorant.
No, it's not your fault. We don't tell anybody. So they do wear turbans. They actually carry the sword as well, right? So they're armed.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably the only religion in the world is have armed women. Like, good, it's definitely
Sounds
a good thing.
good.
Yeah. The guru had bodyguards that were women. We've had soldiers that were women.
How come there wasn't a female guru?
Okay, that comes down to firstly, as a blanket answer, we'll say it's God's will, because everything that the gurus did was all under God's will.
Okay.
Yeah. Secondly, the thing is that for us, we're all women in a way. The relationship between us and God is that of a bride to the husband Lord. Right, so the philosophy of Sikhism is almost feminine, right? So you're having a feminine conversation with you. It's like, oh, I'm ready for you, you know, ravish me, I'm your bride, yeah. So we actually falling in love with God as a woman would to the husband Lord, right? So the word husband Lord comes up in Gurbani all the time, yeah. So the philosophy is that. So the thing is, if a guru represents God, just like the moon reflects the sun, right? So in that way, the guru almost had to be male as well, because it's not that women and men are different. Normal people, we're all the same. We're all women, right? So the guru had to be the male being, because how could then a man would get a bit confused then if he's saying, oh, I'm going to marry the guru as a bride, the guru is a female. It would confuse the issue a little bit. So the guru is saying, look, I represent God in the same way that God is a husband, or I'm the husband Lord as well. Yeah. So that's the only reason. It's not about inequality for us mere mortals. You know what I mean? The guru just represents God because he's the male element in that sense. In fact, Gurbani, the guru's writing, one of them says, "Is jag mein purkh ek hai." There's only one male in this whole world, and that's God. The rest of us are all women.
So what's the text? Does the text have any affinity with the Vedas or the Bhagavad Gita? Or
yeah, so you could see that culture, it comes from that culture,
circumstance,
the Indian culture. Yeah. There are parts of it that do commentary upon things that are mentioned in the Vedas. Within the Vedas, they're quite big. Yeah, there's quite a lot of stories in there, and there's a lot of knowledge in there. We don't say the Vedas are wrong. We just say that
I know you must be freezing, so I just got you some drinks.
Oh.
Some herbal tea. Would you like a coffee or a tea, sir?
Tea.
I'm all about herbal. I'm all about
that's
herbal.
And then you want a black coffee?
He's like,
all right.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Would you like anything else, sir?
No, thanks.
You okay, sir?
Yeah. Thanks. Cheers. So, yes, feeding people, it's part and parcel of what we do. So, we're talking about the Bhagavad Gita. So, let's put it this way: the highest essence of all religions is Naam, i.e., in the name of God. So
sorry, that's a bit funny.
That's
one of my best friends called Nam.
Naam, really? Okay, yeah. You're like
Namrita, but
oh, Namrita, yeah. So actually, Nimrita the word Namrita comes from the word to be humble, Nimrita, which is very similar to the word Naam. Yeah, which is the name of God, right? But you need to be humble to get the name in the first place, so they're quite related. But when it comes to the Vedas, we believe that the message of God was sent down many times. That God sent people to wake people up to this idea that the
message of God comes through people.
Yeah, it comes through people because God's unseen of the unseen. So if He just visibly manifested, right, people would have to accept Him straight away. But this way, where He's hidden, we have to discover Him. Okay. Yeah, and that's the process, and that process is great. Yeah, so it's a journey. The journey we're here for is to discover Him inside us. Yeah. So the essence of all religion for us is meditate upon God's name and be a good person. That's what it's all about. And what happened is that He sent people to give that message, and then they got a bit confused. Yeah. Right, and it got a bit convoluted. It became far too technical. Yeah. Right. It became far too archaic and rule based. Right. And therefore the essence was lost. So what the gurus, when they came here, they said, right, our job now. That's what they said.
That's a problem for not just religions, for everyone. I mean,
no, absolutely, it's a problem.
Be a good person, but then you get so many disagreements of what the word good means. You get so many semantic disagreements.
But are they? But I mean, if you say the essence of being a good person is to live a normal life, like be married, have kids, be compassionate, be justice loving, share. You know, like we do, give free food to people. You automatically work out. If your compass is orientated towards everybody's equal, men and women are equal. Don't be racist. Don't be sexist. Don't be homophobic. If you've got all these things inside you, and let's share what I have, and earn my living honestly. That's one of the big rules we've got. Okay. So you must earn your living honestly.
So
stealing is not allowed. Yeah.
Okay.
Stealing or taking somebody else's rights away from them, you know, that's not allowed. If you've got that, your compass 99% of the time will be pointing towards the right thing. Do you get it? So it's about making so if you were to study philosophy like I did, you would say that it's not a rule-based religion, it's more of an ethics-based religion. So if you give people the right ethics, right, then intrinsically they'll do the right thing. As opposed to give them a ton of rules, then they spend their time focusing upon what we might call Sharia type thinking, just rules orientated. Like the Jews have the Torah and the rules, they go into so much detail, but that kind of loses the essence of what it is to be a sort of sentient being, thinking and, you know, using your brain to work out what the right option is.
So what kind of position does the text have in the
position? For us is God.
The text?
Yeah, the God is, for us God is...
I've never seen the Sikh text.
If you go to a Sikh temple, it's kept on a dais, it's kept on a throne, it's got weapons in front of it, like a king would have, and it's never ever put on the floor, it's never ever put on a shelf, it has its own bed at night, it has its own throne during the day, and if a Sikh would carry the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, they'd carry it on their head.
That's pretty cool. What's in the text? Because in the Jewish text, in the Islamic text, even in most Christian text, it's a rule-based text.
What's in there? What's in there? It's poetry.
What is it?
What's in there? It's all poetry.
Oh, perfect! I love it.
It's poetry. The whole thing from beginning to end is all poetry. And guess what? It's the coolest thing. It's in this leaflet. It's the only text in the world, right, which has this thing inside it, which is the interesting fact. See here?
Yeah.
It's all poetry, right? But it's not divided by chapters. So let's say you go to normal Quran, you're going to have surahs, right? Yeah. So it's going to be divided by chapters on a certain topic. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji is very unique. It's not like that. It's divided by music. So have you heard of the ragas? Have you heard of the ragas? Rag is like a form of musical measure. It's not strict. It's not like a tune, like you would have, like, you know, the tune for Marvin Gaye's songs. It's not like it's not a tune. It's more like a scale of how to go down the scale, how to go up the scale, which notes to miss out, which to play, which to focus upon. So it brings with it a particular mood. So each rag has a mood, and it's divided into these musical moods.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and the idea is, like, you might have a happy mood, right? So the shabads that are written in those. In the happy mood, they're meant to be happy shabads, right? So when you sing them, you feel the happiness from the music, and then the words can go along with that. So it's an emotion. So the Guru's conveying an emotion. So why he's done this thing as opposed to just putting down prose or writing for us to read and just give a set of rules, is because Guru is not trying the text for us. Why is it God for us? Why is it not just? So let's say you went to a doctor. You say, doctor, I got a problem. Doctor gives you a prescription. The prescription is not your medicine. You have to then go to the chemist and get the medicine, right? The Guru Granth Sahib Ji is unique. It's not just a prescription, it is the medicine. So the music is, the kirtan, everything, where you sing it, is meant to change you. It is the medicine.
I like that.
Right? So when you sing it, in that mood, in the words, and then in poetry, it engages your heart. And the key thing is to engage the heart. It's to get you to connect to God. So we can connect to God through this. This is our way. It's like getting on a spaceship and then beam me up, Scotty. That's it. You know, it's like that. It literally is. And you can walk into. This happened to me when I was 21. I'm not joking. When I was 21, I didn't know anything about my religion. I was clean shaven. I used to drink. I used to smoke. I used to mess about. All sorts of things.
University.
At university. Yeah. Normal life at Oxford. And then I went. And in my gap, after my first year, I literally went to a Sikh camp. And this was like a retreat for young Sikhs. And I walked into this place and I didn't know what I was getting into. I was like, you know, I should learn more about my faith. I don't know. I'm studying philosophy. I don't know what it's about. And I went into this, what you call a Kirtan Darbar, where we were all singing music. And I just sat down and I was like transported. And I felt like I was sitting in heaven. And you know what heaven is for us?
Music and poetry.
But you know what heaven is for us? Heaven is this. This is heaven. The idea that in heaven they all sing to God. And if you look at that guy, there's recently a guy from Harvard, MIT guy who died and went to a glimpse of heaven, he calls his book. He's saying in heaven they just sing to God. There's music everywhere. So what the Guru for us has done is recreated heaven here. By giving us music, And also, let's go further. The gurus, they rotate with all the instruments are mostly bowed instruments, or they're string instruments.
Yeah.
So they speak to your heart more than a piano. Even further, the guru actually invented instruments. He's like, this is a better instrument to speak to your heart. One is called Dilruba. A Dilruba, the word Dil means heart, Ruba means a thief, and it will steal your heart. So it's actually invented instruments. So this instrument here looks like a peacock. Look how beautiful it is. That was invented by the gurus. It actually looks like a peacock.
I've seen people play it.
It's called a taus. Yeah. So the guru is trying to get us to connect to God through the music, through the beat. Even in fact, it goes to further to prescribe the beat itself, like what kind of level the beat should be, what speed. And as you feel the beat and the music, your heart engages. Then he throws these amazing words at you, which trying to get you. And the topic could be from anything.
Yeah.
The topic could be as diverse as you want. In one Shabbat, you're not going to get one topic. It's all over the place. Yeah. The reason for that is this. Yeah. The Guru doesn't want someone like me or you turning up to the Guru Granth Sahib Ji and picking the bit we want to read. Right? He's saying, no, I'm in charge. You come here, you sing this stuff, and I'll tell you what I want you to learn. So inside that one Shabad, it's not on topics. It's an experience. Yeah. So literally, the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is trying to get people to have an experience. And remember, it's not just the Guru's writings in here. It's the Kabir Ji's, Farid Ji's, Namdev Ji's, all the different saints. They're all written in poetry as well. So God speaks in poetry.
I do think poetry is transformative. I study poetry.
Okay.